Good afternoon, Xometry partners. My name is Ace Estrada and I'm the shipping supervisor here at Xometry. Today, I'm really excited to guide you through the seamless process of packaging these customer parts in a way that meets our Xometry standards. We'll kick things off by going over how to identify what packing material is needed in a certain application. Then we'll go over how to identify which box is needed in that application as well. Lastly, we'll bring it all together and I will have a live example of how I am packaging and identifying based on the part that we're using for the example. I can tell you right off the bat that this is a heavy piece of steel. So that immediately tells me that I'm not going to use materials like craft paper or bubble. Anything bubble related, it's not going to be able to withstand the weight of this part. So in this case, I'm going to be using PE foam to wrap this piece of steel. The thicknesses will vary. If you have a thinner sized PE foam, just wrap it in more layers. If you have a thick 1/4 inch PE foam like the one here, you won't have to do as many layers, but again, it will all depend on what you think is needed after you feel the part once it's wrapped. I'm gonna position the foam right in front of me here. Okay. Then I'm gonna put the piece in the center. Obviously the overhang here is gonna be taped at the end of it. So just try to make it as even as possible. Now, I'm gonna start wrapping. All right, just as I normally would anything else. Just make sure it's nice and tight. I'm gonna give it another wrap here. From this standpoint, the layers that I have on it now seem efficient. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a tape gun and just tape this part down. I'm gonna fold that flap over nice and tight. Get my piece of tape on there. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then just repeat on the other side. I'm going to tape down these flaps. I'll bring that back here. Okay. And then I'm going to repeat that for the other side as well. That is a structured piece of PE foam. It's nice and sturdy. I feel very comfortable dropping it on the table here from this height. That's kind of a good identifier with, you owning and being comfortable with what it is that you're sending out. After it's wrapped, just give it a quick feel to see if you're missing anything again. In this case, it feels solid. Now we can go ahead and see how we want to pack this inside of a box. For this practice, I'm going to be using a 12 by 9 by 6 double corrugated box. And it's going to increase the likeliness of safe travel for the parts. As you can see, I already have some paper already packed in the bottom. So again, you want to pack craft paper, whatever material you're using to fill the box at the bottom before you place the part in. You can have different weight capacity craft paper, but standard 30 pound, 40 pound craft paper works just fine. So I'm just going to fill the box up, then place this wrap part in, and then I'm gonna stuff more craft paper on top. But in this scenario, I'm really gonna wanna pack it to make sure there is no void within the box. Now I'm gonna gently place this part in here. I'm gonna push it down to make sure that it is nice and tight. Okay. Now I'm gonna make sure that this top is filled. Okay. Now, I still have a lot of room here. Again, we want to make sure that it's snug and tight in there and it's not going to move. Judging from this, I can definitely use more paper. There's still a lot of room there. So I'm going to go ahead and top it off with a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to put these flaps down just to kind of see what it would look like practically. You can get a feel of how much space is actually left over once you open it back up, because you would have crushed the paper down. And that seems like a packed part to me. And then you don't want to forget our Xometry merchandise. Gonna make sure that's included with the shipment. In the event your order does have certifications that are needed, you will tape those certifications to the flap of this box to ensure that they're not lost in the materials when a customer does unravel their box. We're gonna close these flaps, pull this box together, and we're gonna put on this tape here once we have those flaps completely closed. We want to conduct what's called a shake test. So we want to shake the box to see if we hear any significant moving within the box. It's going to be super critical when identifying if we did fill that box appropriately or not. I want to go over just a couple of key points that'll help us understand everything we kind of just went over. Number one, when you are wrapping the individual part, after you have it wrapped, you want to do a feel test of the part. You want to touch every layer of it, every piece of it, just to ensure that every little gap or crevice is properly packaged. Next key takeaway, when you are packing the part in the box, you want to pack the paper down as much as possible. Now, this is a different strategy than the additive parts where you're not pushing it down. These are pieces of metal. It's okay to push down to make sure that you're packing it out and that it stays very stiff and firm within the box. If any questions or concerns are to pop up along the way, feel free to reach out to Xometry's community or to explore our additional knowledge bases. Thank you again, and happy machining.